In the Big Four agenda, the government seeks to raise the share of manufacturing sector from 9 to 20% of the gross domestic product by 2022, expand food production and supply, provide universal health coverage for all Kenyan homes, and build 500,000 affordable houses. These 4 areas are expected to strengthen inclusive economic growth. The urban space presents a viable convergence for enablers toward the delivery of the Big Four agenda. However, state and non-state actors have been pursuing the Big Four implementation path in isolation, hence the need for a synergy platform that was provided during the 2018 Planners Summit.
The Institute thought that it's important to bring all stakeholders to one sitting so that we can all interrogate this subject of the Big Four.
The Big Four has provided a platform for us to speak to the other sectors. And we have had a moment of cross-pollinating each other's minds in understanding that planning is not only centered to planners. It is a multi-sectoral approach to giving solutions to issues affecting society.
A lot of directives similar to the Big Four have largely just focused on economic planning, but they have not focused on how spatial planning can be integrated in it. So there's a large disconnect, and we felt that space, all these Big Four activities happen on space, and thus there's a need for all these things to be domesticated and landed on a space. And that's why we felt that it was very important that planners, spatial planners particularly, bring together all the players so that we can have an integration of economic planning and spatial planning, which we believe is something that will allow for integrated development going forward in implementation of the Big Four.
Our key interest in this planning regime and the Big Four relates pretty much with the grassroots communities and their ability to self-organize and plan, which is what the Civil Society Urban Development Program platform does.
Our fathers of the nation, they were talking of food, shelter and clothes. If we want to be satisfied, we should make sure our people are having food. That is food security. Shelter, that is affordable housing. Clothes, it goes with manufacturing. So the Big Four agenda is very important.
It's a pleasure to see this initiative take off, much so because as an implementation program, it represents a hope for actualizing the Vision 2030. The conference represents the first ever national conversation on the Big Four agenda since its launch.
I'm hearing we are going to deliver 1 million houses, but I'm not hearing what these houses are going to do to the health agenda that is also part of Agenda 4, or is even going to do to the sustainability agenda. So we manufacture, we build houses, then what happens to the environment and the health? And what happens to the sustainability when we sap up our water resources?
The serious problem we are now observing is that of the professional squatter. Because you're settling somebody today, you give him a title deed, he sells his title, and he goes to settle elsewhere as a squatter the following day. How do we end this problem?
When it comes to disaster risk management, what are the adaptation strategies that we are putting in place? And in this area, I want to also challenge our scholars, the universities. Have we developed certain standards, certain guidelines, programs within our, our training program, which would handle issues of urban resilience?
We have had challenges, especially in the affordable housing and planning, where counties have inadequate number of planners who can support them to undertake planning. Because we believe that if counties do not plan, then it will be very difficult to place these investments for the Big Four agenda. Where do we put the hospitals? Where do we put the affordable houses? Where do we have the land or the farm to undertake the agriculture? Because we need to zone agricultural land to protect that land so that the investments that we are making towards agriculture then go to the right pieces of land.
Prepare people to participate in the development of the Big Four, whether it is health, or buildings or whatever you are doing for the people. Let them be party to their doing, preparation, implementation, and finally management of their own lives.
The conference is a very good idea that we can be together with the planners, because we have had a big challenge when we are doing our roads. You find that sometimes you need land, you have to pay for it, but if you work with the planners, you can go around those things like we did when we were doing upper hill roads.
We've done some buffer zones within the existing infrastructure, and we have identified those areas that now are areas of deficiency. So any new dispensary that we need now to do in Nyandarua has to go to those areas of deficiency, but not to go to the areas that are already maybe served or overserved.
Proportionately, we are talking about 57% of the population which is covered. In terms of facilities, we have accredited about 2,050 facilities. This includes government facilities, the public facilities, private facilities, and faith-based.
The capital market industry is offering real estate investment trust, whereby a pool of people gets together and then they buy property, or actually they build property, and then they're able to benefit from the property. The other thing we are trying to do is create a warehouse in Kenya, and housing receipt system, whereby Kenyans are able to take their produce to the warehouse and then they get a receipt, which they can either use as collateral for obtaining loans or obtaining monies which they can use to expand their farming.
There are many scientists at NEMA who do not understand the concept of urban development. And that is why we have problems about even determining what riparian reserves in urban places are, or what riverine development is, for instance. So I think we are on the right trajectory there. And so you must help us in NEMA to be able to contextualize urban development, which is something that really makes life difficult for me.
There was a case in court where somebody was suing the government for banning the production of plastic bags because it had invested heavily. And the government did not defend itself. Is the ban dead? Can we now have plastic bags around?
We have many cases that we've taken to court because we have the water quality regulations that is working. Plastic ban, it is real, it is there, it is happening, we are enforcing it. The particular case that the participant asked, the matter was supposed to be filed afresh.
The land aspect is very crucial to us. Housing talks to manufacturing. Manufacturing relates to health. Health relates to agriculture, and so on and so on. So how that finds its interpretation in space became our concern.
The Commission shall facilitate setting aside of land for the Big Four, working in collaboration with county governments. So far, the Commission has helped some counties. One of them is Machakos, through the establishment of the Machakos New City.
As we think through the fundamentals of the Big Four agenda, and therefore the Kenya Vision 2030, we take our time to interrogate the issues together with a view to finding solutions to the challenges that we face as we go through the implementation process of the Vision 2030. And for registered fiscal planners, it is time we played our role to contribute to the development of this country.
Our joy as we go out of this conference is that all the planners who are here do and indeed accept that social planning is critical in delivering on the Big Four agenda, and more particularly in enhancing inclusivity of our urban areas.
And I think we've had a very successful conference in the sense that we've been able to to all of us come to an understanding of what needs to be done in order to make the Big Four agenda fly, so that it's not just something that we keep hearing on TV, but rather we now move towards an implementation program, so that come 2022 or whichever period that is that was intended, we actually can start seeing the fruits of the agenda.
As a coordinating platform, CSUDP and its partners can only look forward to a more consultative and a people-centered approach to service delivery.